So now we're going to set some priorities based on our conversation. There are several ways to do this, but maybe a simple way is that everyone takes a look at the list that you've come up with, whatever this list or whatever list you came up with, and then have people just vote their top three things, one, two, and three, and you can add up those numbers. Or you can take little buttons, stickers, and stick them on these and see which ones get the most stickers. But we would encourage you to focus on one thing and try to get something that is interesting to almost everybody in the room. Once you've got your priorities figured out, the next step really is to create the Big View team's agenda for the next 9 months. So the Big View team has to now sit back and say, first of all, who do we need on this team, or who do we need to reach out to and begin this conversation with? So let's just take an example. In our case, one of the first things that we found was the reliable transportation had everyone's attention. In a semi-rural community like we were in with Ames, Iowa, a lot of people needed cars, and they needed cars that were going to be functional for at least a year or two without much worry. So the groups that we started putting together were, we had two allies on the team. They went and researched different models. So they brought back their suggestions on how the program ought to be, what it ought to look like. Then we had a group go out and meet with the mechanics to see if we could get a group of mechanics who would inspect the cars for free, which we did. We had 10 mechanics who were willing to do that. Then we had to go down to the courthouse, talk with legal folks about how to transfer cars in a way that we didn't have to own it. So we never touched ownership. We were able to spend what amounted to about 7 hours of staff time for each transfer, and it went directly from the donor to the recipient. We also had to have a group look at what to do about repairs. Can we get repairs done at a more affordable place? And so, the team just began to identify what are all the pieces of putting this together. And, we also had a Big View member who was working with the media to make sure that these stories got into the paper. And that got us more donations. So, whatever you decide to work on, there may already be something moving forward in your community that you can jump into, and then it's just a matter of mobilizing the Circles community to participate in that group. Or it's something that doesn't exist and you want to create it. But your Big View team needs to think through how to do all this in a way that remains manageable for your Circle staff so that they're really just supporting the team but not having to drive it. And so you want to make sure that whatever you come up with, you then have people who will champion this, provide leadership to the Big View team, go out and find the right partners and make it happen. It should be supplemental, and it should boost your Circles activity, not take away from the business of helping the families that are already enrolled in Circles to get their goals accomplished. Good luck.